Woke company instantly implodes after firing base VTuber and bending the knee to Twitter freaks. By ref, yeah, we're going in. A classic, you know, a classic, but we've got a new chud among us. Right? And we're gonna look at this. Also, please consider liking and subscribing. I appreciate it. Here we go. It's gonna be very interesting. Let's go. Let's see it.
Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So as the quote in this screenshot says, what a way to start off a Monday. That's right, we have another example of a VTuber merch-related company completely imploding because they wanted to prioritize virtue signaling on social media, bending the knee to a bunch of activists who are hounding one of their talents who they have now fired. And they fired this VTuber because they said the oh-so-crazy statement, among others, that men can't get periods. Yep, that is something so controversial and so damaging, they were fired from this company, Waifu Wears. And not only did they bend the knee to these activists, they eventually lost their spine as well and have deleted all of their related posts and gone private. They did all of this for nothing. They're basically Jellywig squared, right? They bend the knee and then they chicken.
Jellywig squared. Waifu Wears. Well, it's waifu well, but then again, they're in the UK, so are we really that surprised?
Now, and they look absolutely terrible. Now, unfortunately, this is the subject of this harassment campaign, Yukiwaru, who's already gained hundreds of followers, and I'm sure after this video they're going to gain a lot more as well. And that's how this whole thing works, right? These VTubers get
Yep, these VTubers get demonized. They attempt to get them cancelled. It doesn't work. Blows up. Career started. Powder. Juju. We have this. We've seen this. We've seen this before, and we'll continuously see it.
Problematic. They get punished for having the wrong think, and everyone thinks that's going to squash their career, but it always has the opposite effect. The Streisand effect takes place and they gain a ton of support because it turns out the Looney Tunes on social media are not the average VTuber fan. It's the exact opposite, actually. And you would think this company would be grateful, especially a small company like Waifu Wears, who had a talent like Yuki here, who sold out their most recent shaker with the company. But nope, Waifu Wears.
Again, it's the classic. Probably bent the knee to, like, what, 10 follower accounts, something like that, because that's the usual process, right? There's also something to be said and mentioned here, which is the fact that a lot of this, right, when this does happen, right, there's something that we cannot deny is that this is not the first time. I mean, consider, right, is Advanced GG really small? Kinda. Not really small, but, like, still smaller in some cases, right? And the whole ref controversy did that probably some damage from at least their engagement side on Twitter. Then, right, what was that other case, right? Some other smaller shop, right? I forgot what it was, but that was the same thing. I forgot what it was, but essentially, right, if you are familiar with the VTards and, right, Akimi, right, she was, like, when this started, right, she was also dropped by her sponsor, and then this happened as well, and the sponsor got blown up. Anyway.
Thought otherwise, and as you can see from their description here, Waifu Wears is a UK-based company that sells waifu-related products at affordable prices. Yeah, UK-based company, more like UK soy company, am I right, ladies and gentlemen? But jokes aside, it's not too surprising when you look into this company.
Well, the UK is certainly cucked, so I'm assuming that this company's probably cucked as well.
Because their mission states that they're not driven solely by profits. Yeah, clearly, you're also driven by activism and bending the knee to a bunch of people who are never going to support you in any sort of a tangible way.
By the way, you're going to be shocked by what this lady said that sent these people off. You're going to be shocked. It's going to be crazy.
Whatsoever. And this is actually the VTuber who began the entire campaign against Yuki. Their name is Kat. This VTuber would make this post right here, saying, literally felt my stomach turn watching through this video. Ew. Never thought I'd see the day I get involved in drama publicly, but I feel actually sick to my stomach knowing I once called this person friend. Felt it was worth sharing as a PSA. And what they're linking is a YouTube video apparently exposing Yuki as some sort of terrible, awful person where they have these incredibly transphobic views. And guess what? This is a snapshot of the things she said. Brace yourselves. You're about to hear some really crazy statements.
Whatever, I'm ranting. I'm going full unhinged right now. It's those men who are becoming women who say they get their periods. There was like a questionnaire.
A trans woman cannot have periods. It is impossible. Not only do you lack the kitchen, you lack the tools, you lack the recipe, you lack the room itself in which the kitchen is. You cannot have periods. What you call periods are hormonal, is it a hormonal disbalance? That's what it is. It's your body reacting to hormones that are not supposed to be there. That's what it technically is. A period is a body, basically, how do you explain it in a more, you didn't get pregnant, right? So it just cleans out the stuff that is in the way, and it does that regularly, right? We know this. I don't know. I don't want to get this video, right? They're so sensitive that I think even the word period can nuke them. Can nuke me. See, that's how careful I'm. It's basically a cleaning system, and that trans women do not have that because they have a schlong. They have a trunk and two eggs.
Of someone who, the guy is saying they get their periods, but they don't bleed. They just get like cramps and stuff. Fucking excuse me? Fucking excuse me? As a girl, as a woman who bleeds down there once a month, is literally on birth control. These people are out here like, I identify as a girl, therefore.
Which, by the way, is not good. Just saying it. By the way, that's not good. There is an argument to be made that birth control is actually more harmful than it is, right? The pill is actually more harmful than it is helpful because of all the hormonal shit. And arguably, there is the argument to be made that periods are getting more painful because of the pill. Actually, the overusage. Anyway.
I get my period, and I can get pregnant. No, you fucking can't! You can't! Like, fall in love with whoever you want to fall in love with. But when you're at a pride parade and you're in full, like, BDSM dog wear and greeting kids, there's something wrong with you. If you're a teacher teaching kids to be transgender, to transition, to be gay, to do that so young, there's something wrong with you.
Even the biggest professionals in that field, if you can call them professionals, have to concede with the fact that you are arguably not born this way. And that it has more to do with, likely more to do with environment than being born like that. That's why I'm nowadays I'm just going full on bigot and saying, no, you're not born trans. Nobody's born trans. The reality is, you probably grew up in a perverted environment, and that's how you ended up like that. Right? That might... See, I don't believe you're born with dysphoria. You get it by being in the wrong environment. Now, that still means you didn't choose it, right? You didn't choose it, right? And you're not at fault for it. But there is no gene that we have in our body, right? They have not found the trans gene because there is none. There's no such evidence that you are born with it. The chances are more likely that it is the environment. Case in point, I said enough. You can now cancel me. I'm ready for it.
Yo. Let me tell you, growing up, I was a tomboy. Like, I thought I wanted to be a boy. I wanted to be like my cousin. My cousin was a boy, and I thought he was the fucking coolest. So I wanted to wear boy clothes like him. I wanted to have short hair. I wanted to do sports, like shit like that. I just wanted to be like him. I thought I actually wanted to be a boy. And, you know, my younger sister, Sister Waru, copied everything I did. So therefore, she also thought she wanted to be a boy. If what is happening today was happening back then when I was a kid, I probably would have been, I don't know, in some form of transforming as a child and regretted it because I love being a girl.
Yeah, so this person feels sick to their stomach and has let go of their former friend because Yuki stated, among many things, that men can't get periods, that making being trans your entire personality is cringe, just like anything else in life. Also, that they should leave children alone and that teachers and other trusted adults should not be trying to transition, aka groom, minors. And also that she was a tomboy when she was raised, and she is thankful she was not raised in this current era where she might have been led into decisions she would later regret as someone who's very proud to be a girl. Now, of course, a lot of the replies are not going the original poster's way, saying, based, if you don't have a uterus, you can't get a period, watch his video, no lie detected, how is it phobic, she's stating facts, well, they're fact-phobic, okay? Streisand effect, stop trying to destroy someone's career or character for them just stating something factual. Just because your opinion disagrees with theirs doesn't mean they're not allowed to have one. It sounds like they were only your friend when it was convenient for you. Are you genuinely effing insane? Do you have a link? I need to drop her a follow. It's rare to find sane VTubers anymore. Most of them are virtue signaling hats like you. Now, of course, there's other people who disagree with the previous sentiment, saying a list of problematic topics that were raised, including going on a rant about how trans women don't get periods. Apparently, that is problematic to say. And, well, it was enough to get them terminated. Among, many other people complaining as well, but Waifu Wars bent the knee to these people, saying, what a start to a Monday.
By the way, nothing she said was transphobic. But then again, at this point, you just say yes and. None of it. This is a biological reality. A man cannot get pregnant. A man cannot get periods. Moving on. That is a reality, biological reality.
Just to reiterate, we do not support the use of AI art, nor do we support transphobia with some of their rules. And yes, AI was also a part of this. You know how these Looney Tunes feel about AI art? They think it's literally worse than offing someone, right? So that was another part of it, but it was really the transphobia, the supposed transphobia that they're really upset about. Now, of course, they don't directly mention her in this post, but it's very obvious based on the context, and also additional context like this, where a post tagged Waifu Wars, saying, you fired Yukiwaru for daring to say that men shouldn't have periods. And, well, they untagged themselves from that post. They actually saw this and manually untagged themselves, clearly pretty affected by this. They didn't like this. They didn't like that their actions have been highlighted by users like this. But before they went down, they shared other classics like this, saying, I want waifu wares to be an inclusive and supportive community, until you think the wrong way. Like, I've built this up for nearly 4 years to kind of preach those values. Business? You're supposed to be a business? Okay. I can't control actions of others, sadly, which is very true. And then this person also says something true, saying, no, but you control how you react to them. All right, we're cooking. What's next? Proud to see this is how. Glad to be a part of this wonderful company. Oh, again, they're just so close to understanding. Yes, you cannot control the actions of others, but you can control your own. The problem here is that waifu wares responded very embarrassingly to the actions of someone else. They bent the knee to a bunch of activists, whether it's in their company, which clearly they're not doing that much for them in the first place, or it's people who are not a part of the company, potential customers who never had interest in the first place, and the people who might have been are completely disgusted by their reaction.
Exactly. It's also funny, right? You can, for example, draw a nice comparison. Usually the outrage is bigger than the actual support. We could see that, for example, a good example is recent example is Star Wars: The Acolyte. The people that signed, there were more people signing the petition than actually watching the show. Meaning, if the people that signed the petition would have watched the show would have not been cancelled. Here's like the same case. There's more people that are outraged by this that are actually going to support waifu wares, meaning waifu wares actually did more damage to them than they actually helped. Which they can say like, oh, we don't care about money. Yeah, but you also don't have a business without money. You can't sustain a business without money.
But let's not overlook the reply to that statement by Waifu Wares, saying, I don't harbor any ill will to anyone. Everyone has their own views, and that's fine. I respect that. But when it comes to business, yada, 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 they can't support it. Yeah, they really do support other people's views until those views contradict their own. And when it comes to Yukiwaru's views, well, that's not something they can respect. And for the record, she doubled down, okay? She is not afraid of her beliefs. The VTuber who made the original call-out post shared a Discord screenshot here of a private message between the two, saying, just curious, is this actually a clip from your stream, referring to the clip we saw earlier? And Yuki says, the thumbnail is clickbait, but I said what I said. I said nothing wrong. I said my opinion, and being flamed. And this cat individual says, oh, honey, that's not clickbait. That's pretty effing accurate and disgusting. Yes, being called disgusting by the people who have an issue with someone saying leave kids alone is absolutely diabolical. But, of course, what happened to the post? Well, my wife, Darling Straub here, had a very interesting experience. I saw this happen in real time. She came to me and was like, oh, you might be interested in this situation. She's like, check out my quote. And literally within minutes of her quote, on a post that had been up for nearly a day at this point, they blocked her instantly, and then they deleted their post. Now, I'm not much of a narcissist, but I would like to believe they might have seen what was coming here and they tried to flee the scene of the crime. But unfortunately for them, it makes them look worse, because not only are they bending the knee initially, now they're not even standing on business, right? They're spineless. They're not even standing by their decision. They're immediately nuking their post the second they get any sort of backlash or fear backlash. And it's always this, everyone's gangster, till it's, this tweet has been deleted, which leads to really funny screenshots, like people quoting the now deleted announcement saying, Waifu Wares continues to be the absolute GOAT. Waifu Wares. And here's this reply here, preach it. And of course, this is now behind a private account saying, I want Waifu Wares to be an inclusive and supportive community like I built up over the last 4 years, and to kind of preach those values. And here's another one saying, thank you for being amazing. We need more companies like you around these parts.
Well, these companies won't exist for that long because nobody's going to spend money on them. It's that simple.
And Waifuware says, thank you, Captain. Always gotta look out for the homies. Now, who's this individual? Because they're involved in the final wave of this video, which is people virtue signaling and trying to blacklist people and trying to basically ruin their career over this situation. And you have this VTuber, again, a small following VTuber, who decides they have the power to blacklist people. So this was their quote to the original call out post saying, "Wake up. See my new merch partner talking about how they don't stand for transphobia and have cut ties with someone. Confused. See this video. Someone making awful transphobic rants with merch company products all over the video. Oh yeah, that's how you get blacklisted fast." I'm glad individuals like this have the confidence to believe they can blacklist anybody. It's literally just peak narcissism, but what do you expect? But here's
Oh yeah, that's the thing. That's the chick that essentially ran back to Blue Sky after coming back to Twitter for a bit just to make these posts, but then she ran again because you got no balls.
another part of this arc here where we have this artist who apparently made the model for Yuki. And this was their reply saying, "I'm the artist of her model, and I was friends with her for years. I'm also non binary." Hearing her say this stuff was a punch in the gut, on top of her using the model to create AI images. I'm absolutely devastated by what's happening. And then the original poster says, "I'm genuinely so sorry. I was feeling literally sick to my stomach, sitting there trying to process what I saw as a friend. I can't imagine how this must have made you feel, considering the way they're acting on top of all the AI stuff with your arts. I hope you're okay." Yeah, you can see two friends lost over this situation. Like, clearly you knew nothing about this individual if this came as some sudden shock to you. And you know what? Good riddance. Get rid of people like this. Filter them. These people were lying in wait for the moment you expressed 1 ounce of wrongthink to publicly disavow you for clout and activism on social media. But of course, the thread continues with the artist saying, "I'm not super okay. It's a literal nightmare. It doesn't even feel real somehow. Seeing the screenshot of her doubling down as well, I wish I knew how we got here. It's just a gut punch and another gut punch. I'm not sure what to do yet aside from crying about it." Literal first world problems. You see someone with a different opinion than you, and you're crying about it and disavowing them publicly. Insane. Literal nightmare, by the way. But then someone says, "Wish it were possible to revoke her rights to use the model." And the artist does a shushing emoji, implying they're going to revoke the rights of Yuki to that model. Which, by the way, if you don't have any sort of breach of contract that happened here, ooh, this is a really, really bad move. So unless there was some terms in the contract that would bar her from continuing to use this model, I would highly suggest not doing this. Okay? And even if you have the right, should you? Is that really the best solution here? Because,
By the way, you cannot do that, first of all. Second of all, aren't those the same people that cry about AI? So the reason why people aren't opting for for example, pre-used models now from artists or artwork in general from artists is exactly because of that. You say something quote unquote wrong, which isn't wrong. The reality is that men cannot get periods, right? But apparently that's transphobic. I don't know. Very interesting. Regardless, there's a reality to be said that this is my probably also push for that. Anyway, I talk over. If you do this, you're straight up committing a crime. So you better not be doing that. Also, very interesting to see that. See, what if somebody does it to you? What if somebody changes their beliefs and takes away the right? If we start this, that means that everyone can do it, right? Everyone can do it. Would you be okay with, for example, Elon blocking you out of, I don't know, revoking your right to tweet, right? You can see everything, but you can no longer tweet. Probably not. Would you be fine with game developers taking away your right to play the game because you said something you shouldn't have, or you said something that someone there doesn't agree with. Should that be okay? Like, you open a can of worms. If something that you purchased can be taken away by rights, like by the creator, then this will cause serious problems further down the line, right? Should Intel be able to block the usage of your laptop because they don't agree with what you're doing with it? Should Microsoft shut down Windows because they don't agree with you? Like, you get it. This could be very interesting. This is a slippery slope. We cannot do that.
You're angry about your friend having wrongthink, or heaven forbid using AI. Now all of a sudden you're going to revoke their right to using the VTuber model. But of course, you can't stop the virtue signaling. After making the replies, they would make a separate post saying, "I'd like to ask people to use the current situation as grounds to spread kindness and awareness. Trans people struggle, yada, yada, yada," and they list a bunch of organizations, and one of them is Mermaids, which is an organization that targets children, which feels really relevant to this entire clip that got Yuki in trouble with these people, because this trans charity has routinely targeted minors. In fact, they admitted that they were selling binders to not young people, as this article suggests. No, it was children, including children between the ages of 13 and 16, without the knowledge of their parents or guardians. Thank you to this previous user for proving Yuki's point. You literally proved one of her points from her transphobic rant. Incredible. But of course, let's go back to this part. I want to use this situation as grounds to spread kindness and awareness while threatening to revoke her rights to her model. But also, this is another reply where someone says, "Respectfully." She's right. "Sorry you're lost in life right now, but you will find yourself, I'm sure." And the artist says, "Respectfully, go F yourself," sideways, which is a very interesting way to spread kindness, is it not? But then this user points out something very obvious here. "Also, at least I'm a man of my word. How about you?" And of course, you can see that they quit Twitter, and now they're on Blue Sky. And just like every other Blue Sky user, they always come crawling back to this platform they think is so evil. But don't worry, they're also active on the insane asylum that is Blue Sky, where they're making posts like this saying, "Remembering why I stopped using Twitter, I feel sick." Imagine getting to the point where freaking Powder, they lumped in Powder because apparently she replied, "Powder agrees with your stance and takes your side. Hope it was worth it, Yuki. Hope you were proud." Narcissists, first world problems, delusions, it's all here, ladies and gentlemen. Like, literally log off of social media if you're this fragile. That's it.
There's not much to add here, right? There's not much to add, but it's true, right? At this point, just log the fuck off, right? If you can't survive, and the thing is, like, life's tough, get a helmet. But, like, yeah, she is, if the statement, "men cannot get periods," makes you spiral, you are not fit to live in this society. You're not fit to live in any society, for that matter, because that is a reality. Biological men cannot get periods. Period is a uniquely female function. That is a reality. And that's that.
A genuine piece of advice. That's my kindness to you. You seem way too invested emotionally in things that should not make you this upset. That's my advice. But yeah, very interesting situation, ladies and gentlemen. And as you can see, Yuki Waru is reaping the benefits. And of course, I'll put a link to her Twitter account in the pinned comment and description as well. Feel free to give her a follow if you like her takes or you want to check out her content. That's the only valid response to a situation like this, at least on my end. But, oh yeah, also, there you go. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed, please consider giving the video a like, consider subscribing, and turning on notifications.
Yep, that's the end of the video. I hope Yukiwaru, professionally certified ankle biter, grows. Let it grow. Let all the Chud VTubers come out and scare these people, right? I agree. Scare them. Scare these people. It's just, I feel like we are at a point where if such simple statements get you canceled, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But I hope she massively benefits from this, right? As usual, right? And yeah, hopefully that'll help her. I don't know. This whole thing is by extension a result of giving these people too much control over media. And now, now that it's slipping and it more and more doesn't work, right? We've seen this with Powder, Banana Juju, this lady here, right? We've seen it at this point. And I'm glad to see that people are no longer afraid to speak out about what they do believe. I think that is great. I think that's a great development. And I think it should be kept up, right? Let's keep going, right? Let's just straight up keep going. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Please consider liking, subscribing. Follow Yukiwaru, like and subscribe to Ref, right? And I will see you in the next one. Thank you.